Good afternoon. Welcome to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. It is draft day and draft night around here. We have plenty of coverage leading you up to the first pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, which will come shortly after 8 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. We'll have full previews with Jacob Kamaker, who will join us courtesy of the USA Today. Also, Kevin Walsh will be on our programming tonight, so he'll give us a preview as to what we can expect from our preview show tonight. Justin Perry also dives into the latest. We've got afternoon affairs in Major League Baseball. Those are just some of the guests that will appear on our show today. But let's get started with our big sports betting update of the day. Comes in the prediction market space. Kalshi is banning 3 political candidates for trading on their own elections. Believe it or not, Matt Klein of Minnesota, Zeke Enriquez of Texas, and Mark Moran of Virginia. Kalshi says, hey, you're on our site and you're on our app. You shouldn't be predicting on your own elections. So some were small ones, but regardless, all 3 were banned from Kalshi for 5 years and fined, with Morgan from Virginia receiving the biggest fine. And he said that he intentionally placed the bet to expose issues with the platform, which does make some sense, by the way. Either way, Kalshi is, they take predictions on betting on, or, well, they'll say betting. They take predictions on elections. And if you're involved in the elections, you shouldn't be on their site regardless. It's wild, wild west with prediction markets. Okay, defensive player James Pierce of the Atlanta Falcons got some good news. This is courtesy of Andy Slater. He says that all of the charges will be dismissed if he completes a program offered to him by the state of Florida, and will have to stay out of trouble for the next 6 months. No jail time, but the NFL could still suspend Pierce for some of these issues. We'll see what happens in the summer, and they'll make their decision. All right, there was no complicating issues last night between the Detroit Pistons and the Orlando Magic. An absolute blowout last night. Pistons beat the Magic 98-83, so they come back in a very big way. First home playoff win for Detroit since 2008. Cade Cunningham at 27 points in the win, and they finally got back to their style of basketball, says head coach J.B. Bickerstaff.
It's Pistons basketball, and that's what it looks like. Like I said, we had one off night just to happen to come at a bad time. But I know what our guys are, and we trusted that they were going to come back tonight, be the best version of themselves at some point. We just play defense. It's that simple. When we play defense at the level we're capable of, it triggers everything for us. We can be an elite defensive team, a disruptive defensive team that pushes and gets us transition easy baskets, and that's what we did.
The series now shifts back to Orlando, tied at 1-1. What's the outlook heading back home?
It's great to get back home, in front of our fans, the best fans that we have. I think just our ability to come out with the right type of energy, the right focus, the right amount of physicality, understanding exactly how they're swinging and how they're punching from the beginning of the game. So we've got to make sure that we keep our minds right, keep our heads right, get our recovery the way we need to, and come out with a game plan for some of the things that they did tonight that they adjusted to that we'll have to adjust to as well.
All right, so that series is all tied up at 1. Unfortunately for the Phoenix Suns, they couldn't do the same against the Oklahoma City Thunder. 120 to 103, depending on how you bet this game. Really close, 17.5-point favorites. So some folks won with Phoenix, some pushes, etc. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he led the way, 37 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. The Suns certainly were not happy with the outcome of this game and not happy with the refs also. Devin Booker had 22, Dylan Brooks had 30. Here's Mark Daigneault, the head coach of the Thunder, talking about the differences in the 2 wins for his squad.
A large difference in the game was Phoenix. I thought they had a sharpness tonight that was impressive. I thought, like I said, after game 1, you have to pace with the series because each team has the same opportunity to improve, and I thought they improved night to night and put us in some tougher spots. So things we can learn from. I thought we did a really good job building the lead that we did in the third, heading into the fourth. Obviously, the fourth was a little wacky. We'll watch that. Some of that, I think, was shot making. We had some good ones that didn't go down, and then other parts of it, I think, were controllable. So definitely stuff to take from the fourth quarter, but generally, it was a good win. We built a strong lead, and we're able to hold it.
Yeah, first off, I thought our fight, that's the team that we've had all year. After a tough loss, emotional week, to come back in a tough environment, play that hard, especially back against the wall. Felt like everything was against you. Down 26 to come the whole way back to get it to 10. Incredible fight, incredible grit. Some of it wasn't drawn up. Some of it was just absolute willpower by some of our guys. So thought that was a major positive. That's what got us back in the game, that force, that grit, a way to hit those guys to keep them off the glass. We found some of the things that we talked about. Some of it translated. We just got to do it for a full 48.
That series, of course, will continue this weekend. All right, 3 more games tonight. We'll get previews a little bit later in the show. By the way, Keldon Johnson won the 6th Man of the Year. He's on the San Antonio Spurs, and also with the draft coming up soon, Darius Acuff Jr. has declared for the draft. He'll be a top 10 pick in the draft coming up in, I believe it is June, the next NBA draft. All right, in baseball last night, yes, the losing streak is officially over. That's the good news for the Mets. The bad news is in the win, they lost Francisco Lindor to a calf injury, and it looks like he is going on the injured list. Mets beat the Cubs 3-2. That was the final. And right now, it is the Byron Buxton show for the Twins. He had another home run yesterday. Mets beat the Twins 3-2. Buxton a home run. Also drove in a run as well. Carlos Mendoza talked about winning finally after a 12-game losing streak.
Carlos, what's just the general feeling finally getting the win?
It's always good when you win a baseball game at the big league level, let alone when you're going through a 12-game losing streak. So it was nice to get that one, and just now concentrate on just playing baseball and not about the losing streak. Great effort overall. It wasn't easy, but I thought we played a pretty good game today.
All right, so now the longest losing streak in the National League goes to the Philadelphia Phillies in the same division. The Cubs beat them 7-2. Alex Bregman went 3 for 5. Seiya Suzuki is hot. He had another home run yesterday, also went 2 for 4. The Phillies placed catcher JT Realmuto on the IL and also announced today that they've waived Taijuan Walker, the final year of his 4-year contract with the Phillies. So they're trying to shake things up, and Trey Turner says that they are not going to give up no matter how many games they lose.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Not having much fun in here, which is tough. This is a great game. We're lucky to play it, and when you are expected to win and you want to win and it's not happening, it's tough and not fun. But that's why we're here. We got to keep grinding, keep going, and there's gonna be no quit.
Right, the best pitcher in baseball this season continues to be the Angels' Jose Soriano. Another fantastic start as the Angels beat the Blue Jays 7-3. Soriano, 5 innings pitched, no runs. His ERA, .24 on the season. He's been fantastic. Shohei Ohtani was also fantastic yesterday. The Giants, though, ended up coming back late to beat the Dodgers 3-0. Ohtani, 6 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, but Tyler Mahle was even more dominant than normal. 7 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts for him. Dave Roberts wishes that his offense got going. We'll see if they could rebound today.
Yeah, it was just, I don't have an answer right now, and we got a tough one tomorrow versus Webb. So we got to find a way to, keep fighting, keep competing, and hopefully, we take some good at bats tomorrow.
Finish out their series today, and of course the Houston Astros have had a tough time this season, but they do have the Majors home run league leader, Yordan Alvarez, hit his 11th of the season yesterday, and the Astros beat the Guardians 2-0. In the NHL Stanley Cup playoff push yesterday, the Flyers take a 3-0 series lead on the Penguins. Penguins were favored to win the series, not anymore. Wild edged the Stars in overtime 2-1. The Ducks beat the Oilers. Their series is tied at 1, and we got 3 games tonight. In hockey, Buffalo, Boston, Carolina, Ottawa, and Colorado, LA. We'll be back with more NewsWire here on SportsGrid, previewing the NBA playoffs. Don't go away.
It looks like Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler have replaced Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson as must-see golf TV. 14 million people on average watch the Masters on Sunday on CBS. That's not including Paramount Plus. It's up 8% from last year, and it just about tied what was probably the best Masters Sunday performance. That was in 2015 when Jordan Spieth won it.
NewsWire. Only on SportsGrid.
Let me understand this, Joe. Are we going to have any broadcast games on TV anymore? It's all streaming?
You got to pay to watch here, folks. That's just the way it's going to be, one way or the other. And I'm sure this will satisfy, the FCC looking into the coercion that's going on here with the NFL broadcast rights? Yeah, this is all par for the course, I think.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Gotta call it what it is, Donnie. Did Houston just completely misfire here? Like, did they not do enough research, background, find out more about the guy for him to say this just a few weeks into the season? And then you start wondering, Donnie, is it really dead arm? Like, is there anything going on here? Like, oof, I don't know. Just an awful look for Houston at the start of the season, and they can't win a game to save their lives here.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
It's a 7-game sprint with a whole lot of volatility, right? You don't want the best team, so to speak, Donnie. You want the team that has a favorable group stage, weaker knockout path, and has some penalty variance coming their way here, because this is all about the path to the final, Donnie. It's not about the best team, because the best team can get knocked out.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. NBA games coming up tonight. If you are not watching the NFL draft, you got some NBA games. Justin Perry joins us. We'll get a little bit of a preview of those, but first let's recap last night. Justin, thank you for coming on the show. All right, so no surprises in the NBA for the first time this week last night. The Pistons beat the Magic. They evened up their series, and the Thunder took care of the Suns last night pretty easily. And so the Thunder in a better spot. They have a 2-0 series lead. But first, let's talk Detroit basketball. Orlando winning was a surprise, and it may be a surprise if they were able to win the series, obviously. But, Justin, I think going back to Orlando, they stand a chance maybe to win one of those two games. And, they're just an unpredictable team.
They are. It is definitely the type of team the Magic are to exactly look the way they did in these first two games. We expected Detroit to get that first win, so it wasn't really too much of a shock to see them come out and take care of business. Maybe some of the misses that they had, the underperformance, only scoring 101 points in that first game. I mean, they only scored 95 in the second, but again, it was more about limiting the Magic, and they put up 112 in that first game. They aren't exactly taking good shots, but the real difference, I think, is that Detroit really stepped it up last night in terms of what they were able to do defensively, limiting them. This probably should have been a little bit of a closer game, but you just saw the will to win from Detroit. I'm not totally sold on this series, but I do think that we get back 2-2 to Game 5 and get a good finish.
Okay, and Oklahoma City, obviously monster favorites in every game that they play against Phoenix, and the Suns are upset. But I mean, look, they could probably, I would say, in one of the next two games, Justin, keep a game close. But man, it's really hard for me to predict they can win a game in this series.
No, I mean, the Thunder probably have another 5 people on the bench that could sub in and also beat the Suns. Maybe not 5, but you know what I'm saying, is that they are just so deep. The guys on their bench could start for a lot of teams. It's just they aren't even using Nikola Topic. They have talent that is deep on their bench that would probably come in and could play minutes in a finals. It's ridiculous. I don't even like talking about them. It upsets me. Sam Presti is a genius. I don't understand why other GMs even pick up the phone. But that's not here or there. They're going to make the finals, at least the Western Conference Finals, without breaking much of a sweat.
Okay, so let's get to tonight. We've got the Knicks and Hawks. I think this is going to be a long series. I mean, 6 or 7, I don't know. But I know that the Knicks are going to win one of these games in Atlanta, and I do believe Atlanta is going to win one of these games as well. So I just don't know which one, at least the way that I see it. I think Atlanta is going to
Yeah.
fight. But the Knicks are slight favorites tonight, total 216.5. Does New York come out with a win in Atlanta tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do, Craig. And I'm going to turn the hat around and let people know. The Knicks are coming out and getting that win tonight. Shot quality, man. I couldn't even believe. I don't really like wearing my hats forward, but I couldn't believe that loss. I couldn't believe that melt. A 1-point loss on the game. I think the Knicks probably could have won by 10 to 15 points had they not gone about as cold as you will ever see them. A lot of ire coming towards Coach Mike Brown. But again, I thought they got good looks and they missed them. And that is a very, very different problem from not getting good shots or being expected to lose or not being able to penetrate the Atlanta defense. I think there's a better chance of them returning 3-1, winning both games in Atlanta, than there is splitting. So, yeah, I'm on the Knicks tonight. I think the line is wrong, off by about 3 or 4 points, especially if you trust that shot quality data. I think you want to just use that. You could probably make this line 6.5, 7. If they had won that game by 15 3 nights ago, would this line be different? I think yes. People are definitely very quick to overreact, and I don't really think the models are right on how they're looking at this Knicks team and how they're looking at that CJ McCollum performance. I'm not a fan of CJ McCollum. I think there's a reason he's never been an all-star. There's a reason he's 21 and like 48 in the playoffs. He had a good game. He hunted Brunson. I expect the Knicks to figure that out tonight in Atlanta.
All right, we'll see. And certainly the Knicks are still pretty big favorites in the series, minus 176. Hawks plus 148, and that will be the first game tonight. Okay, Cavs also take on the Raptors. The Cavs are up 2-0 on Toronto, and the Raptors have not shown anything to make me believe that they could beat Cleveland, who's playing their best basketball, it feels like, of the season since they traded for that guy, James Harden. Look, I mean, this is one of those games where if Toronto doesn't win, the series is just over eventually. Justin, who do you think wins tonight?
I got the Cavs. Again, I just think it's really, really hard to beat a team in a playoff game, let alone series, when there's just a clear hierarchy between the best players on the floor and both of the best on-ball creators are on the same side. And it's just Harden and Mitchell play that tag team game where they can just get buckets, and you can't really stop them. I mean, the game is geared towards offensive players like them, and I mean, I watch Spida for like 10 minutes and you're going to understand. It's just not looking great. Brandon Ingram couldn't really get much done. I think that could happen again tonight. Give me the Cavs. The money line looks nice. The spread looks nice. 3-0, maybe lose that fourth game, bring it back home. That seems pretty likely to me. I bet 4-1 to open the series on this one. I think that's what we get.
Okay, let's take a look at the evening affair between the Nuggets and Timberwolves. Very tough one to call for me on this one. Denver minus 2.5 at Minnesota, total 234.5. Man, back and forth they'll probably go throughout the series, I would guess. But, certainly a tough one for me. What do you think tonight?
Back and forth because of the Wolves. The Nuggets are so consistent. Both games played at about a 55th percentile expected points per shot rate in both those games, but the Timberwolves were up at like 70th percentile in the second game and down at like 20th percentile in the first game. So which Minnesota are we going to get? And I think that means you can bet this game live. You can literally watch how Minnesota's playing, see how they're attacking those defenders that McDaniels called out by full name tonight. And if they're penetrating, if they're getting to the rim, if they're scoring efficiently, I think you can trust them to keep up the performance. I don't see them like dropping off the face of a cliff. If they're looking good in that first quarter, take them. If it looks like they're not hitting those good looks, yeah, I think you can go ahead and take Denver. I'm not playing pregame. I'm going to bet that one live.
Okay. And any opinion changing on the NBA champion for you as we take a look at the updated odds there?
No, I mean, Eastern Conference Finals are about as up in the air as it could get right now. But it's SGA, it's the Thunder. I think they're going to meet Victor Wembanyama. Hopefully he gets back and is healthy enough in time. Spurs can still do it and get there without him. I just don't think they beat the Thunder without him.
Justin's going to stick around. We'll hit on some afternoon and evening baseball here on NewsWire on SportsGrid. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The New York Knickerbockers are NBA champions. Da 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 da. Canyon of Heroes, parade, convertibles, hot chicks in Knick jerseys. The Knicks finally get over the hump and win an NBA title. And there's me, and there's Jalen Brunson.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't get it, man. Maybe this is more of a Kalshi Poly market conversation to jump in on the prediction markets. But to me, this is the spot that I would roll with the Rays, man. I think they're undervalued every year, and I think they're undervalued this year again. Look, the Yankees should be the favorite. They're the best team on paper. Baltimore, Toronto, and Boston? Donnie, are they that much better than Tampa Bay? What am I missing here?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Can't alienate your fan base. That's the problem. You got to show your fan base that you're still trying to win, and you want to sell tickets in the summertime. You don't want to go into mid-May and say, all right, we're 15 games out, but it's still only early May. No, fans will stay away. So you don't have the luxury anymore of just waiting. So someone's got to get fired. One of these teams is going to fire someone by the end of the month.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
There are guys are great. We don't know that about Cal Raleigh. It is possible that Cal Raleigh isn't one of the 5 best catchers in baseball by the end of this season. And that's the difference. It's not possible that Aaron Judge isn't one of the 5 best outfielders in baseball. That's not on the board. It's on the board for Cal Raleigh.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Let's check in on Major League Baseball's action coming up later today. Some of the premier matchups, of course. We continue on with Justin Perry here on the show. All right, so let's look at the Yankees and Red Sox here tonight, where the Yankees are a significant favorite, minus 154, because Cam Schlittler is on the mound for the Yankees. He's been fantastic. Peyton Toley for Boston. Total of 8. Yankees seemingly getting a little bit of their footing, and the Red Sox have not. It's just as simple as that. I do expect, though, at some point the Red Sox to start winning some games. Does that begin tonight?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad bet. I think you're probably not getting the best price on the Yankees, but it's going to be really hard for me to go against the way that Cam has looked. And I don't think that you want to go against the way the Yankees offense has looked. I would argue they have the 2 frontrunners for the AL MVP. And I mean, Giancarlo Stanton and Ahmed Rosario apparently can just take over games when needed. I'm going to take the Yankees tonight. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm taking the first 5 run line. I think that's the best way to take advantage of both of those things I just talked about, the pitching and the hitting. You want to take first 5s with these types of teams, especially the Yankees, because you're hoping you see the top 3-4 hitters 3 times. You're guaranteed to see them twice. You hope you get them 3 times. And that's a lot of value, right? And an away team as well. If you want the full game, I don't hate it because they're on the road. But yeah, I think you get some pop again. It's just hard to go against the way this team's looking. They're clearly the Yankees can go hot and cold. I mean, they started so hot. They lost all those games. They almost hit 500. And now they're back on the roll again. I mean, they have 2 incredible pitchers at the top of the staff. And I'm not sure how the Red Sox are going to hit Schlittler. Especially, I mean, Fried carved him up. I think the coaching for the pitching clearly has an edge on Boston as well, is something you need to take away from the 1 run in 18 innings. I mean, 0 in 16 innings. So, yeah, give me the Yankees, pay the price. Not thrilled about it, but it feels like it's the correct side even against the motion of the market.
Meanwhile, can the Mets start a winning streak of 2 after their win yesterday? They'll take on the Twins today. Ryan will start and Christian Scott for the Mets. Total of 7.5. Lindor out, headed to the IL. Soto back in the lineup. Coin flip type game here, at least according to the odds. What do you make of this matchup tonight?
Yeah, I mean, some of that Twins power gets a little cut back. Wind blowing in at Citi Field is usually pretty good for pitchers. I like Joe Ryan a lot. He's really finally looked good in these last two starts. And playing Cincinnati when Cincinnati's on the road can be easy. But just looking at like the pitch level stuff, which is something that I like to do rather than just the results, the pitches have been really good the last 2 games out. So I think Ryan's getting into a nice form. Of course, Soto can do some damage. I think him coming back in is a net positive, even with Lindor going out. I mean, Soto is just that good. Lindor has been a little cold. But yeah, I still like the Twins here. I still think you take the first 5 money line on them. It's a little bit difficult. They're going with Christian Scott tonight, the Mets, and I haven't really. Again, he's getting called up for this spot. They're looking for answers a bit, but I don't know if he can locate the slider. I don't know if he can get the swings and misses on the splitter that he's going to need. And if they can just sit fastball, yeah, I think Ryan could get a lead in the first 5 innings. So I'll take that.
All right, let's go to a good matchup between, by the way, the Pirates and Rangers, although I'm not really sure what to expect from Jacob deGrom tonight, and I guess we could have said that for years, honestly, but they're big favorites tonight against Bubba Chandler, and the Pirates total of 8 tonight in this game. My gosh, like it just seems like it's so easy with Texas, but really is it? Not knowing, I mean, if you told me deGrom went 5 or 6 innings, I would say, okay, you probably know who's going to win that game.
Well, they're 6-1 at home to the under, or technically to the over, but yeah, the unders have been smacking when they're at home. And again, I'm not a fan of Chandler. He's not really getting guys out. He doesn't have the significant out pitches that I think he needs to be a consistent MLB pitcher. And I mean, Josh Young is heating up. They got some guys down in Texas, and deGrom coming off a game where I think 30% of the pitches he threw got fouled off. That is an aberration. That is not going to happen again. So the 4 innings you saw is really because somehow Seattle was fouling everything off in that game. So I do think he goes 5. Maybe he pushes 6 innings. Still got the fastball slider combo that is one of the dirtiest combinations in baseball. As long as he's healthy, he's still a top 10 pitcher. So give me deGrom. Give me that first 5 run line again. Whittle the price down. I think they score on Chandler, and deGrom holds them in check. First 5 innings is how I always do it. And hey, I think 3-0-1 on the show last time, Craig, in the MLB. So hopefully we keep it rolling.
All right, good luck, Justin, and good luck to your Knicks in the NBA as well. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it. See you soon.
All right, coming up next, NFL Draft tonight. Final thoughts on that. We'll have Jacob Kamiker from USA Today weighing in on the 3rd overall pick. Seems to be a hot-button topic. We'll address it when we come back next on NewsWire. All right, welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid NFL Draft. Coming up tonight, Jacob Kamaker will be all ready to go and react to it over at USA Today, but he joins us now for a quick preview. All right, Jacob, the night is finally here. I gotta say, I'm very excited always to see this stuff because my Dynasty Fantasy League, honestly, that's really my number one priority here. But truthfully, not a lot of buzz for me in this draft. A strange one. I don't know why I feel that way, and here I am doing media every day. But I think that we'll get some fun tonight. I think there'll be some trades. I think there'll be some intrigue, and that could really, save a lot of the intrigue and sort of fun of the draft. Because leading up to this, when you already know who the number one pick is going to be, it really creates very little drama at the top. People have to start wondering who's going 2 or 3.
Yeah, Craig, and this is just generally viewed as a weaker draft class. Like I've seen reports that some teams only have 12 to 15 first round grades on players. Usually that number's closer to 20. So, the talent pool in this year's draft isn't as good. There's only one clear cut first round quarterback. Maybe Ty Simpson sneaks in there as well. But I think that's taking some of the buzz out of the players in this. But I do think, to your point, there could be a lot of trades in this year's draft. There's a lot of unpredictability beyond the first pick in terms of what are the Jets, what are the Cardinals, what are the Titans, what are the Giants going to do in the top 10. So there's a lot of different ways this draft could unfold. And if we get a lot of trade activity, I think a lot of people are going to get excited about this and say, hey, maybe this draft wasn't as bad as we thought it was. We'll see how the players end up doing, but I do think there's going to be some excitement tonight. It's just not the same as it usually is where we're debating who's the best blue chip player. There's only a few of those this year.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like that. And so that's, I think, a very fair assessment. So maybe the biggest intrigue of the night goes to pick number 3, where the Cardinals, certainly have been searching for some sort of superstar offensive player. So it does make sense for them to take this shot on Jeremiah Love. And I guess the problem with this, Jacob, is that it just doesn't seem worth it almost ever to take a running back at the top of the draft. The Raiders have to be wondering if they made the right selection with Ashton Genty, Saquon Barkley years ago. That turned out to be really good, taking a running back. But simply put, every year the draft has a running back in the 5th round, 6th round that ends up producing at a very high level. So do the Cardinals end up doing this? Do they pull the trigger here? Does somebody trade up? Does Tennessee move up maybe one spot? Is that what this is all about? I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'm buying the fact that the Cardinals want to trade down, but I'm selling the notion that they'll be able to do it. I just don't think that these teams picking 8 and 9, like the New Orleans Saints, the Kansas City Chiefs, would they maybe like to move up and get either Arvell Reese or David Bailey, depending on who the Jets don't take at number 2? Sure, they might like that, but I don't think teams are going to be willing to give up future picks for next year's draft in 2027, which is expected to be deeper than this year's draft. I don't think teams are going to be willing to give up those assets to move up, even for a blue chip player. So I think the Cardinals are looking at this and just saying, who's the best player on our board? Maybe it's Jeremiah Love. Maybe that's why the buzz is growing around him. And there's no doubt that he's going to be a very talented 3-down weapon at the next level. He could end up being the next Bijan Robinson. But again, to your point, are the Cardinals ready to take a running back and say, hey, this is going to turn our franchise around? I don't think so. They have a lot of holes, especially along the offensive line and at quarterback. So it seems a little odd to be taking the running back first. But at the same time, they'll get a blue chip, face of the franchise type of offensive player. And if they can quickly rebuild the rest of the offense around him, maybe it'll pan out. But it is a little bit of the backwards way we've seen teams build, where in recent seasons, running back has sort of been the last piece that these Super Bowl contenders add.
Sure. I still feel like Dallas ends up with Jeremiah Love. That's still, I'm going to stick with that going into the night and coming out of the night as well, but we'll see. All right, so if the Titans are in that spot and Love is gone, then I guess Tony Pollard becomes their running back again, unless they decide to do something else. But it leaves a wide open board, at least on FanDuel, Jacob. I mean, you rarely see the 4th overall pick, 3 or 4 players under 7-1 odds. It just tells us that it can be really confusing going in. Now, Love is the favorite there, but you see Styles and Bailey and Reese are all literally right there. And even further down, you have Carnell Tate. So this becomes so unpredictable once we get through the 3rd pick, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to your point, like some of these guys, Bailey and Reese, we don't know which one the Jets are going to take. The lean right now is David Bailey. But, if they go Arvell Reese, this could shake things up pretty considerably, because if the Titans are on the board and Bailey and Jeremiah Love are off the board. They're looking at Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles. Those are two high-end players that can really upgrade Robert Saleh's defense. My lean right now is still to go Sonny Styles at this point. I just think his athleticism, unique size at the position, sideline to sideline skills, it's going to remind Robert Saleh of Fred Warner a little bit, who he coached for many, many years with the 49ers. So I think he might look at that and say, hey, Styles is the type of playmaker I need to add to my defense here. And yeah, as good as Reese is, he's a little bit more of a developmental project because he's only been a one-year starter. And, he's a hybrid player who's still developing as an edge rusher. So I think Styles might be the cleaner fit for them, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Titans do anything there. I just think if Love is off the board, I assume it'll be a defensive player. I don't think they'll go receiver like Carnell Tate there, even though it would fill a need. I just think that Robert Saleh's goal is to build up that defense.
The Giants will have to do the same after trading Dexter Lawrence, but they do have 2 picks inside the top 10, so they could revamp that D, but it seems like all indications may be getting Jackson Dart, maybe another weapon here. I can't imagine if Caleb Downs is sitting there at 5 that they don't take him, but as you see, the 5 pick, 4 different players under 5-1. So flip your coin, Jacob, on one of those 4. Styles, Downs, Tyson, Jeremiah Love, seemingly wide open there.
Yeah, and Craig, I think the interesting thing that could happen here is if Arvell Reese tumbles down the board a little bit, say the Jets don't take him, the Cardinals go Love, and the Titans take Styles, all of a sudden Reese is sitting there for the Giants, and you're saying to yourself, man, would the Giants just take him and say he's the best player available? I could see it, but I think their lean at this point would probably to go an offensive playmaker with the 5th overall pick, just because it sounds like they like Jordan Tyson a lot, and the odds of him making it to the 10th pick are probably lower than the odds of a guy like Caleb Downs, even though Downs is probably the cleaner prospect and maybe the more pro-ready contributor. It's just the positional value of safety might knock him down to the 10th overall pick. So I think the Giants are going to look at this and say, hey, we think we can maybe get Downs at 10, so let's draft whoever we have at the more premium positions like wide receiver, or if Arvell Reese is there, sure, go that route and then try to get Downs at 10. But I think if Reese is off the board, I think Tyson will be the pick. If Reese is on the board, man, Craig, I really don't know what they will do. It would be a big-time coin flip for me between those 2 players.
All right, so let's go back to the back end of the first round where I think that's where we could get the potential trade, because that little wrinkle that gives you the ability to take a quarterback and potentially get that extra year of control if you take them in the first round, at least that makes the most sense to me. So I guess beyond Mendoza, the Ty Simpson discussion, if he falls out of the first round for whatever reason, Jacob, I mean, it could be a pretty big fall for him overall. But then again, we have seen teams in the past jump into the first round to take a quarterback. I know it will not be, or I think it will not be Miami or New England. Who could it end up being in that first round?
Yeah, I think you look at those picks 26 to 32. There's a lot of teams in there that would like to trade down probably. I think the Buffalo Bills, the Chiefs and Dolphins both have 2 first-round picks. So if they can move down a few spots, pick up more assets, I think they'd be interested in that. And then the Seahawks, picking at the end of the round, only have 4 picks in this draft. So they're almost certainly going to trade down. So if Simpson remains on the board at 32, and you're talking to a team like the Cardinals who have the 34th overall pick, they can trade up. I know the Seahawks are in their division, but just give them a 5th round pick. Say, hey, you get the extra pick. We get the quarterback we want. But I think somewhere in that range, a team is going to trade down and Ty Simpson is going to get chosen, because I just think in a draft that's this weak overall, Ty Simpson has the potential to be a starting quarterback at the NFL level. I think some teams can value that enough to trade up, get that 5th-year option, and it won't cost them too much to do that the longer he falls.
Yeah, and you talk about a weak quarterback draft. This may be the weakest we've seen in a really, really long time, but we'll see how it plays out tonight. Jacob, follow him on social media and all his work at USA Today. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Craig. Take care.
Evan Walsh up next. Don't go away. All right, welcome back to Newswire. Kevin Walsh is with us. He will anchor our game time decisions and our NFL draft preview along with Gabe later tonight as they get you ready for the 2026 NFL draft, where it just has to be one of those nights where we have to expect the unexpected. Maybe it just simply, Kevin, will be this dull, boring draft where nothing happens, or maybe it'll be the most intriguing draft of all with all these trades that they're saying that could happen, Kevin. I just don't recall a year where it's been this quiet, no trades. Everybody knows who the number one pick is, and then nobody knows who's going after that. So, I mean, this could go a number of different ways tonight. I'm hoping for us, obviously, and I'm hoping for everybody that watches that this becomes more fun than it's leading up to be, because as of right now, I mean, there's just not a ton of discussion on this draft.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of confusion right now, Craig. I mean, it's represented in the odds to go second overall with the Jets, with Bailey and Reese, and the ping-ponging back and forth. It's not even a situation where the whole time, we've had no certainty. We've seen Arvell Reese get over minus 400 in this market. He's currently not the favorite. We've seen he and Bailey work back and forth, and I think maybe some of the quietness is because what the Jets do seems to be holding up what everybody else will do. And it does actually seem like the Jets' number one plan was to make sure people were at least a little confused as to what they would do at 2, Craig. And they have seemingly pulled that off.
Now, the player that I think that we're most interested in seeing where he goes is Jeremiah Love. My prediction on this is as simple as it gets. I believe the Cowboys will trade up and get Love. I mean, to me, it is the most perfect fit in the draft. And also, Kevin, this team, they've given up so many draft picks for a lot less over the years, just throwing third and fourth round picks away just to get better in the middle of the season. So I'm going to throw my dart on Dallas, but I could see Washington. I could see the Titans. I could see the Cardinals. And by the way, I do really believe that this is a generational running back, unlike Genti and unlike some of the other running backs that have come out. I mean, look, 200 yards almost every game for Notre Dame, and Notre Dame plays a relatively tough schedule. So what do you think? Where does this kid go tonight?
Yeah, look, I think Love is as special as you do. I think Dallas would love that, no pun intended. They would love that opportunity. I believe the reports, though, that Dallas doesn't want to move off of the 20th pick. They picked 12 and 20. And I think in order to get Jeremiah Love, they would need to. I think the Rams, though, in a similar vein, would also be ecstatic to go up and just try and not even the cherry on top. It'd be like the sundae on top of the sundae. Just get real gluttonous with it. I feel, though, the Giants sitting at 5 are in a prime position to take Love if he is there. And I know that what about Cam Scadaboo? I don't think Harbaugh cares. I don't think any of the guys that are on the Giants that Harbaugh inherited, I don't think he likes anywhere near as much as the fan base. It includes the quarterback. And I wouldn't be totally stunned, Craig, if this team drafts Love at 5 and tries to get on the phones at 6 and come up and grab Caleb Downs and basically sell their fan base. We just got the 2 best players in the entire draft at 5 and 6 in Love and Downs. I think the Giants would be over the moon if they were able to do that here to start the Harbaugh run.
Yeah, and it's a fair point because generally in sports, Kevin, across the board, the new guy that comes in doesn't value the players that were there before. It just happens across the board in every league. The new guy takes over and guys are out the door. So maybe you're right. Maybe it is Scadaboo or someone else. So that being said, Harbaugh leaves behind his old team with a lot of questions as to who they're going to take. Honestly, maybe when I look at these odds, it really does tell the story. They do need an offensive lineman so badly. So that's plus 130 there. It does make sense to me. I know Lamar needs some weapons, and yes, those things are true. But you got to just protect this guy. They've had a really hard time through the years getting that done.
Yeah, and they've lost some, interior offensive line presence this offseason. The issue, so I bet this market, Craig, and I bet offensive line at plus 130. I think it should be a shorter price than it is. However, I think tight end is real. And I think Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon is a legitimate option. I almost think the reason tight end doesn't have shorter odds than wide receiver is there's a few wide receivers. There's really only one round one tight end. I did bet offensive line, though. I think they're sprinting to the podium if Vega, the offensive lineman out of Penn State, is still on the board. You'll know, like, again, we have uncertainty as to who's supposed to go to. Vega is underneath plus 200 to go 14. So if he is there, I do think he is the pick for Baltimore.
How about the first wide receiver taken? These odds are really tight here. Carnell Tate of Ohio State, minus 105. Jordan Tyson from Arizona State, minus 125. Both have very similar skill sets. It seems like you can't go wrong with either. And the odds tell us it can be either tonight.
Yeah, the movement has been just remarkable. Jordan Tyson a month ago was a wide receiver with a nagging hamstring injury who could potentially fall into the 20s of this draft. Carnell Tate was flirting with being a top 5 pick, and now here we are with Tyson as this small favorite. I have not bet this market. I think this market is a great representation of just how much uncertainty we have at the top end of this draft right now, Craig, where the Giants apparently love Jordan Tyson. That's what everybody says. But do they love Jordan Tyson 5th overall? I'm not so sure about that. Does he need to go 5th in order to cash this because Carnell Tate is going to go 6th or 7th? It's possible, and it's why the odds are moving as much as they are.
Well, Kevin, enjoy the night tonight. I know we'll be catching the coverage at 6 p.m. Eastern and then again at 7 p.m. Eastern, leading you up until the draft. Good luck with all of your wagers and have fun through this fun night. And by the way, great NBA games as well. So thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
No, you got it. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff to follow as we continue to also be on Ty Simpson watch. So that'll be another interesting wrinkle here.
Yep. A lot of things happening tonight on Sports Grid. We'll come back and wrap it up next. All right, welcome back to NewsWire. I'm Craig Mish. We've got the NFL draft coverage coming up later tonight, and probably once we figure out where Jeremiah Love goes, then the rest of the draft can sort of fall into place. But it's still a big question. Will he go to Arizona? Will he go to the Titans? Will he maybe go to New York and play for the Giants? Well, Love told the media if he ended up in New York, it would not be an issue for him.
Great organization. If I was to go to New York, a very good place where I can market myself. They're building something special over there, I feel like. They got they just got like a really big fullback. I think it was with the Ravens. Forgot his name, but they getting that run game together, it seems to look like. So I think I would do great things with the Giants. They got Scatterboo over there, so we'll be able to learn from him a little bit. He been in the league for 1 year, so I think me and him would be a very good duo. They got Dart down there, great quarterback, smart quarterback, so we'll be able to put us in the best position possible to have success. Then a great head coach, first year. Going to turn things around, and I think something special is brewing in the Giants, and I would be blessed to be a part of it.
I'm guessing if you ask Jeremiah Love questions about all the other teams in the NFL, he'd be very educated and give you some really good answers, just like he did there with the New York Giants. All right, as we wrap things up, a historic start for Jose Soriano. We'll also get into a little hockey. Got plenty to cover here, so let's get right to it as we end the show with some last licks. All right, this is why we know nothing going into seasons baseball, right? Like, I mean, come on. Like, honestly, no one had this one. Jose Soriano of the Los Angeles Angels. Yes, that guy right there is the first pitcher in baseball history to record 40 strikeouts with 1 run allowed over the first 6 starts of a season. He has the 3rd lowest ERA in a pitcher's first 6 games of a season since the earned run became official in 1913. That's crazy. Lefty Grove, Hall of Famer. Walter Johnson, Hall of Famer. Jose Soriano in really good company. Man, I mean, he's obviously not going to keep this up. But talk about a pitcher out of nowhere this season. And I mean, he's not the favorite to win the American League Cy Young, and like not even close. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. This guy, I mean, looks good. Put him up there. We'll see. All right, let's get to Philadelphia. The Flyers, who are feeling pretty good about their playoff options right now, just introduced the hat trick, which requires patrons to finish 3 cheesesteaks and 3 sides of fries during the game for $45. You can make it a power play by adding 2 beers for additional $6.38. And this seems like a pretty good idea, except for how in the world you going to eat 3 cheesecakes, 3 sides of fries, and 2 beers? Who is eating this? Somebody that's not healthy. On the flip side of this, what is going on with this series between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh? And now listen, I am not the hockey expert here at SportsGrid, and I don't pretend to be. But I was told that Pittsburgh was going to win the series against Philadelphia. What has happened here? Philadelphia is up 3-0 in their best of 7. So, yeah, more cheesesteaks and more fries and more beers for everybody in Philadelphia if they keep the series going. Now, the good thing about this, honestly, is that those fans in Philadelphia really deserve some fun. They have not had a lot of fun the last 10 or 15 years. So really good to see this happening. Okay, now here is a parlay that speaks to your 4-legged friend. Now, this is someone on social media that said that his dog passed away a few weeks ago. And since then, what he decided to do was $5 parlays with his dog's initials. ODINTB, Odie Bear was the name of the dog, being in the first and last name of the players. And last night, because of him using the initials of his dog, he ended up hitting a 5-player parlay. Here was the parlay. Hertz home run, Baldwin home run, Cruz home run, Vargas home run, Tippett to score a goal, and Leon Draisaitl to score a goal. Now, again, really, really nice to see. We confirm all this? Do we have a clue about all this? Not really. But I definitely think it's a pretty good honor to use your dog's initials in a bet and win 40 grand. So I ain't going to complain with that. Generally, I don't do this stuff on the show, but I myself have a dog too, so I can definitely empathize. All right, that'll do it for the show today. Hey, remember, 6 p.m. Eastern, Kevin Walsh, Gabe Morency, they got you covered for the NFL draft all the way through 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Thanks to our guests here on the show today, Justin Perry talking some baseball and some basketball with us, Jacob Kamaker from the USA Today, and Kevin Walsh from Game Time Decisions here on SportsGrid. That'll do it for our show today. Fun night coming, NFL Draft. Make sure you stay tuned. Thanks again to Chris. Thanks again to Tommy. And for Frank, I'm Craig Mish. Enjoy Draft Day and Draft Night. We'll recap it tomorrow.